Are we going to war? How is that going to affect you, your family, and your investments? See you on the inside. Guys, welcome back to the Inside View Real Estate Podcast. I'm here with my wonderful host, Carl Freund, and we are going to have a very exciting, maybe controversial topic today. And you may have seen the headlines, you may watch it, you may stay tuned into everything that's going on, but there's some scary shit happening on.
Dude, did you just swear?
I just swear.
Can we get a quack?
This is real
quack
time,
that
right?
out?
There's
Yeah.
some crazy stuff happening on in the world.
No, for real.
Absolutely.
Dude, it's 100% manufactured, by the way.
I 100% believe it. I think the U.S. may be behind it. I hate to say that, but we're not even going to go down that road this time.
Let's just get right into it.
Let's get right into it. So some things have happened recently, thanks to our podcast guy over here, Justin.
Yes, very well informed, by the way.
Gets informed.
Very impressed.
Pipeline in Russia. You think we were a part of that?
Natural gas?
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
so let me break down a couple things for you.
Here we go.
So whose interest would it help if all of a sudden Russia couldn't supply the European Union with natural gas? Us. So guess what's happening is that we are literally sending our natural gas to China, and then China is sending our natural gas to the European Union. Do you think that's not intentional?
100%.
And was it so random that one of our Black Hawk helicopters was the only aircraft in the area at the time that those things happened?
You and I both know that none of these events are random, and they're very thought out and very
planned.
Years in advance.
Dude, everybody's pointing the finger at Russia. Why would Russia blow up their only supply of money into the country?
Right. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Another thing, I didn't even know this, but Justin over here just told us that as of last night, Russia moved 2 of their missiles.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yep.
Dude, and think about it from their point of view, too. Okay, so I think the media is unjustly throwing Putin under the bus.
We always know that. Everybody
all
hates him,
he's
thinks
saying,
he's a
he's
horrible
like,
guy,
look,
all that kind of stuff.
I'm trying to get rid of the Nazification of Ukraine, right? And I think Trump took the fall for this. And I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm just saying that. But I think he took one for the team. And so do you remember when all this collusion was being alleged between Trump and Ukraine and Russia and all this other shit?
Prior to the election of, yes.
Yes. So here's what happened. I think Obama actually put all these biological plants, these factories essentially into Ukraine and said, hey, look, homies, can we put our shit over here so that we're not on front and liable for this stuff? And when that was about to be released, Trump had to step in and say, hey, wait a minute, please don't let this stuff out. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that you guys are happy. Let's not let that get out to the general public. And now Trump is looking like the idiot, right? When in fact, he was probably the one that was covering up for some shit was done, decades before, right? This shit's been going on for a while.
We'll give him some credit, but at this point in time, like you said, we'll never know.
Just an assumption.
You never know,
I'm just
right?
guessing.
We just heard that Elon moved all of his satellites out of Ukraine, saying that he doesn't want to be a part of any type of war efforts. And
probably
he's
a smart move.
Yeah, which is probably a very smart move, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing, right? North Korea, missile over Japan. I just heard about that. Didn't know that occurred, but that's it's a very scary move there, huh?
You got a vice president that was over there speaking and literally said, we are in alliance with North Korea.
Yeah.
Major gaffe, right? And so North Korea was like, yeah, no, we aren't. And so that was a demonstration of we are definitely not aligned with the U.S. or any of the allies.
Last one even here.
Positioning.
Japan fired a submarine missile in response.
Of course.
As a warning.
Yeah.
As a warning, right?
Of course.
So this is crazy. It's getting pretty wild. Not only just on our front, just receiving all this news, but things are getting intense. Not only in the EU, Russia, Ukraine, North Korea, Japan, Taiwan. All of these things are obviously coming up, and something's going to happen. Something's about to pop. I think there's just going to be an event. We always talk about this, a black swan event that's going to set off everything.
Yeah, 100%. It's
everything.
Coming.
Okay.
Think about it from the United States point of view. What's the best way to get out of an economic depression?
War.
And
this is here's another thing, guys. Remember this. Keep this in mind. I learned this, 10 plus years ago. War is not meant to be won. War is meant to be sustained.
Yes.
Okay. Now think of this, right?
Middle East for 30 years.
Okay, guys.
Right.
And now this is when you guys do your research and you really dive deep into these things, there is profits to be made on both sides of the war, okay? Both sides of the war. There are corporations that are supporting the U.S., but are also supporting the other front that's fighting against us.
Well, you got NATO. Okay, we're selling all of our arms to NATO. And so you got to be very careful. Just follow the money. It's super simple. And why do we have politicians that are making like a couple $100,000 a year coming out of politics? 100 millionaires. Do you know how hard it is to make $100 million in this country? Really fucking hard.
Really hard.
Unless
There's always
you know,
side deals.
Unless you know people.
You always hear about it. There's always
Right.
these side deals. It's like, yeah, on paper, this is how much they make. You look at their investments outside of that. Where did all this come up?
Yeah.
How did you get all these opportunities? When is this happening?
They ran a statistical analysis not that long ago. We're getting way off the subject of real estate, but they ran a statistical analysis not that long ago. Looked at all the trades that people that were representing us, people, senators and people in the House of Representatives were making stock trades. And they rewound it and said, can we beat the S&P 500 using them as an analog, right? So basically saying, hey, look, if we just trade exactly the way all of these senators and members of Congress are trading, can we beat the S&P 500? And the answer was yes, by a lot, okay? And so you're telling me that there's no inside information, there's no collusion there? Yeah, that's just the shit that we can see. So can you imagine the stuff that we can't see that is always buried? The contracts that are going out, the people that are getting taken care of. The cronies are, it's a real thing. Cronyism is a real thing.
The money that just disappears.
Yeah, just gone, right?
$1 billion.
So look at the budget for the United States. It's huge, right? And that's got to go somewhere. And guess what? It ain't being spent here. So we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine to shut them up so they don't leak all the stuff about all of our chemical weapons factories and all the biological weapons factories. That's for a reason, right? Like, we're not homies with Ukraine. Like, I don't remember last time we've ever hung out with Ukrainian. Like, it's just not a thing.
Yeah. All right. So circle back, guys, to real estate. Yeah. Okay. So now you were here for, 9/11, and we entered that war, right? Yep. Going after Osama bin Laden, saying there's weapons of mass destruction. It was Saddam Hussein.
False.
Yeah. All of that. The narrative was painted. False. We believed it. Got the U.S. backing behind it. Mm-hmm. We went overseas. We entered war. That war was,
prolonged
10 plus years. Okay.
Are you kidding me? It's still going on.
Yeah. So tell me, you were in the real estate market at that point in time.
Was.
You were on the lending side. Is this correct?
I was on the lending side, yes.
You were on the lending side. Tell me how it affected the real estate market when we entered war.
Well, it's kind of the same setup we have now, right? So interest rates were 7.5% to 8% prior to 2001.
Okay.
And that was kind of normal, right? If you got a 7% rate, you're doing pretty dang good. What are rates today? 7 or 7.5%.
Yep.
So see the setup here?
So here we go, guys. We're not
happens.
saying this to alarm you, but
right.
you have to pay attention. Things are cyclical. Like, history repeats itself, guys.
Always and always and always.
And you just fall into it.
So 9/11 happened, and I remember that lending stopped, right? So from September 14th, when the market opened back up, which I think was a Friday, basically for another month, we had massive drops in the Dow. Massive. What do we see right now? Massive drops in Dow and S&P 500. All the indexes are like 23%, 21% down for year to date.
About that, yeah.
Inflation's at a massive high. Supply chains is a real thing. It's still kind of jacked up. What's the best way to lower interest rates? Go to war, right? You want to stimulate the economy. It's the same exact setup, and people just don't see it. I don't know why they don't see this. Like, so I'm raising the red flag. I'm saying shit like this for like the last year. Like, hey, look, something's not right. Hey, look, the books are getting cooked. Hey, look, we're going to be headed towards some shit. Hey, look, you might want to buckle down a little bit, and start playing a little bit conservative. I took my money out of the market like a year and a half ago, so I started to divest pretty quick. And I mean, you saw it.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. And so it's like, I know it's going to happen. And so I said it in a podcast and said it several times in videos I've done on YouTube and very public. And dude, I've called every fucking shot, and I have been wrong. I called it the day that the market turned. I remember because we did a company meeting that day, and I said, today, mark it down in your calendar, is the day that the market is turning. Today. It was March 14th or whatever that Tuesday was, right?
Yeah.
And so I've been right about everything. I said October 2022 is when we're going to see that massive switch. Guess what it is?
Rewind the tape.
Here it is. And so, guys, I see the setup because I've been through this shit several times. I started calling 2008 back in 2005. I said, wait a minute. The books are getting cooked. We're writing bad loans. This is not good. We can't sustain this. And guess what happened? I was right. So like I've been right over and over and over and over again. So I'm telling you that the current administration is looking for an out because Biden does not want, the glamorous title of being the worst president in the history of America, which he's headed towards pretty quick. So if he creates drama, if he manufactures problems and then offers the solution, which would be go to war, right? And so he's stoking the fire here. So he's literally, like teasing Russia, like, hey, come and get it. Blew up their pipeline, cut off their monetary supply, right? He's doing all this shit intentionally, dude, to squeeze Russia and paint him into a corner where Putin's like, you know what? I've had enough of your shit. And the nukes capabilities that they have, by the way, it's not going to be like a Hiroshima. It's literally tactile nukes. So we're talking about, I can take out Josh, but Carl's still good, right? Like we're talking about nuclear capabilities of that scale where it's so precise. That's the shit that's going to happen. We're not talking about blowing up entire freaking, cities and shit anymore. We're talking about very tactile stuff. And so you got to be very aware of what their motivation is. And as you paint a cat into a corner and you start poking him with a stick, guess what? He's going to get his claws out and you're going to get it right in the face. It's coming, and they know that, and I know that. So, like, what are we going to do? Like, what's the next play?
Even going back, just like you were saying, like, we're enticing Russia to do something, something to act. I remember specifically when I did my own research, even on World War II, Pearl Harbor was known about. Pearl Harbor was enticed by our own president, cutting Japan off from our own oil that we were providing for them. Right? So it's it's literally
same setup,
literally the setup, literally the exact setup. And guys, this isn't to alarm you, but it's just to make you be aware. Okay.
Yeah.
We feel like some shit's going to go down. Elections are about to happen. Some crazy stuff happened with the next election. Who knows if this year is going to be even worse, or 2023 is going to be some crazy things. Okay. But you guys need to be financially prepared, and you need to be aware. So you make sure you can take care of your families, make sure you take care of yourself as an individual, and be prepared for, an economic downturn. Maybe have some cash put aside. If you're even have an employee right now, I would make sure that you are really good and really tight with your employer and making sure that you have a very secure job, because if you come into this economic downturn with no job, you're going to be in a very tight spot.
Yeah, your first cut, dude.
Yeah, and if you don't have any reserves, whether like it's 6 months or a year or 2 years, like we always say to have, it's going to be a day where you're going to be learning some lessons.
Well, dude, the government wants you to live off of them because you're going to vote for the party that hands it out every time.
All right, guys. Well, that concludes our episode for today. We got very, very political on this one. There was a lot of information. Carl's very, very passionate. Clearly, he came fired up today. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. But we will see you on the next episode, and we're going to get more political in the next one as well. So you stay tuned.